So he's got pedigree now. He's got, you know, respect. He's got an established position. I still think, and I think he admits it, he's finding what his real style is. He does everything pretty good, but I wouldn't be able to put my finger on exactly that. This is who he is. He just does everything at a good level. So that's still something he's working on personally, but he always brings a good game.
I like what we've seen so far here from Wenger. He did not prioritize immediately going to the major item, the Mega, but instead grabbed himself the weapons that he felt like he needed and then left off of a little bit of delay there. Used his peeker to try to get some information. Doesn't really yield much, but now has an idea where his opponent is after not seeing him. He hasn't actually caught him in the sights, but has a good idea. Finds him at the heavy, as that Mega is going to be up here shortly. Did that delay pay off? I don't know. He's got to be careful here. He may not be able to sneak in and grab it, or if he does, it would be at a cost. Rail does come out here, but Wenger's going to have to give that up and change up positioning.
Yeah, but he got his much-needed rail. So he was willing to forego position. What a flick rail! I thought he knocked him off the map in exchange for the rail, and now a heavy as well. So all in all, it has worked out pretty decently for the young Italian. Got himself a position up top as well, given he did hit that great rail. Zeniku forced to slow it down. He's popped that orb in the previous engagement to get across the map, so doesn't have a lot to work with.
Jumping up to the top, LG comes out, peeker to try to get some more damage, but after realizing his opponent actually backed into the other room, he just went ahead and sacrificed it. Nice rail again, as he is definitely keeping his distance. It looks like both players will swap their major items. Now, actually, Mega's up, hasn't been picked up yet. Wenger has an opportunity to take full control right here. I think he's being apprehensive about it because he's not sure where his opponent is at, but there's going to be a huge delay now on that Mega. Got to be careful as he grabs it. Doesn't want to get hit off the map, but he does grab it clean. A little bit of tri-volt damage, tickling him a little bit, and now he's set up to grab the heavy again. And this is where I would be scared if I was Zeniku. You realize that your opponent now has pretty solid control. You know that they've got a 6-stack, and that means you've got to be hitting those rails like he did right there. One coming out as well for Wenger. He throws peeker out, and things are kind of equalized after that. So good play by Zeniku.
Yeah, he's being an absolute menace, you know, playing this low ground, playing these cheeky angles. He's actually catching Wenger off guard more often than he himself is. And he's worked himself into a good stack. He could even contest this heavy if he wants to. He's got the orb up. I don't imagine he will. He's just quite happy to sit on this mid ground and play defensive. So long as he hits some exit damage, more or less on the same stacks.
Yeah, I mean, that's where that importance of grabbing the damage and minimizing what you take. Zeniku gets LG down. The rail can't clean him up. Does Wenger know he just needs to throw a little bit of something out? And nice read on the Dire Orb as his opponent went for it with the Mega. I liked the thought of it, but unfortunately the execution didn't really play out for him, and Wenger picks up another conversion frag to make it 2-0.
I think he orbed into the water. He overshot.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I saw.
Okay.
So either way, it's a 2-0. So a low-scoring start. Nevertheless, it is an action-packed start. Zeniku, though, playing ultra defensive, and you can see the respect from Wenger, unable to break the walls of Zeniku cleanly a lot of these times, which has prevented the snowball effect just yet. But the problem with the way in which Zeniku is playing, obviously, is if he doesn't connect with that exit damage, that's when he's in trouble. We saw it off the previous heavy. Wenger managed to escape, got a lot of lightning gun damage, and then it was a matter of time and forced Zeniku into almost desperation mode. And Wenger is just rotating both major items with pretty much perfection.
Dude, Wenger's hit some just wild flick rails in this matchup. Really, really amazing stuff. As he does grab the Mega and then heads back over. Nice rocket through the floor. And he is just continuing to do a lot of damage here. Doesn't matter that, you know, 12 with a shotgun, you hit several of those and could be doing some big damage. Out of the teleporter. Wenger almost paid for that one, but a quick spin around in that shotgun. Wenger puts 4 on the board.
Zeniku getting across for his second Mega of the day, only his 4th major item pickup, so you can see where the problem lies. It's just in the control. It's no fault of his own. He's definitely tried. He's just been unable to break the stranglehold of Wenger. There we go, up again, nearly hits it through the grate. That would have been a spectacular shot from the Italian. We get to see the defensive play from Wenger, which is also second to none. Good rail from Zeniku, but unable to get up top. You can hear the rocket jump coming, but the connection isn't there, and he actually knocks him off.
Nicely done. That was a good chase by Zeniku, playing the long range there. Nicely done. He, unfortunately, is very, very low. Needs to be careful. Wenger knows it. LG out. Easy pickup for him. His reward is that heavy, and Wenger keeps that 4-frag lead. But like to see kind of how Zeniku's thinking about trying to bring this one back. Still got to be careful, though, as I don't think he actually has a rail right now. He doesn't, so Zeniku in a rough spot. He throws out the orb as a misdirection, but it doesn't work out. Oh my gosh, beautiful follow-up frag for Wenger. And amazing.
It's so nice when it comes off. It's so nice and clinical.
Yeah, just so nicely done. You play that middle area, hit every single one of his rails. Right now, shooting a 62% rail, 15 to 24 shots hit. His damage significantly higher, almost 1,100 points higher, and has clearly held on to control here, as he has way more major items than Zeniku does. But Zeniku's not giving up, and continues to put the pressure on. Question is whether or not he can actually bring back a 7-frag lead here on Deep Embrace.
Yeah, and that's assuming it doesn't get any worse. If he's not touching the items, he just does get himself a mega. It's going to be worse, but that's been the most impressive thing. Obviously, some great shots coming out, but just the calculated plays by Wenger. Because he's created these angles, he's created this damage, as well as maintaining control and keeping position. Just a general flawless game all in all, and it's gone from a 4-1 to an 8-1 in the matter of a blink of an eye. So, as I say that though, Zeniku has bullied his way onto that heavy. He knows the timing of this mega as well, but he doesn't have an orb, so he has to go old school and walk all across the map. And in doing so, he walks into a stream of LG. He does pick up the item, and is pretty healthy. Just to finish up the Italian aim, he's walking now into rockets, taking so much damage.
I'm really excited how I feel like this season we have seen just some remarkable defensive play. Like it seems like it's something that players are kind of prioritize and thinking about. Right, defensive rockets, defensive rail, defensive tribal, even LG in some cases. But we've really been seeing some remarkable play in that regard over the last few weeks, and it's been great. So Zeniku does manage to pick up 2 more right there, making it now a 5-point game. There's about 2 minutes, 5 seconds, give or take here. I still think that's going to be pretty tough for Zeniku, considering how Wenger can kind of set the pace of this matchup a little bit. Big old peaker damage. The Dire Orb is used. It doesn't yield much of anything. And now Wenger is just kind of wasting additional seconds on the clock here, and that is to his advantage.
No, that's a good point. Like I don't think we've really seen that much use of the Ranger skill set compared to the Stronger Peaker. Seen some good peakers to use the slide. But as I say that, it doesn't even matter. You know, Zen is forging his way back in. He hasn't got a lot of time, but the momentum is there. He's got the timing and the rotation, and that perfect split that Wenger built for himself is now Zeniku's to keep hold of. So if he continues to do this, it's like it's perfectly possible.
He's got about a minute. I'm going to use that Dire Orb to get on top of that Mega. And then, of course, some rocket jumps to try to get around. Nice read on where Wenger is, but Wenger, with that 6th sense, that Spidey sense, realizes that his opponent's probably jumping down and firing a rocket at him, immediately stops. It completely whiffs him, but these two are definitely scrapping here in the final minutes. Both players super low. And again, this benefits Wenger a little bit more than it does Zeniku, and there it is. He cleans it up with the machine gun. 9-4. Going to be pretty tough to come back from that one. But interesting display, and I think does kind of set a precedent for what we might be seeing here in the next 2 maps.
100%. Wenger made that very scrappy, but all in all, you got to respect Zeniku in this one. He was under huge pressure for so much this map. You've got to think back when he had 3 major items 4 minutes in or something ridiculous like that. And yet he kept it close, he played defensively, he played smart, didn't let the scoreline get away from him. And because of that, he had a big opportunity to get back into this set. It was just a little bit too much. He had to take some risks he maybe wouldn't have wanted to. Considering how hard Wenger was hitting, got to be surprised at how close it was overall.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good Dire Orb day, has it? It really...
God, no, it really hasn't. There's not many noteworthy moments that I would want to recapture, but another Ranger game that was a bit of a miss in the history books.
Yeah. And actually, I really did like the situations in which Wenger did use Peeker. You know, I think, obviously, like, yeah, Peeker, you know, you do damage, you shoot your little laser beam at it, you blow it up in their face. But even he, at the beginning of the map, using it to prioritize information is just another kind of, you know, acceptable utility use that I think comes in really handy, especially on a map like this. Like, as the map progressed, I think Zeniku held on to quite nice, handled Peeker just fine. But I do like how that was used by Wenger, so.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the ability element of the game is something that's always going to keep increasing in skill set. It's new for a lot of Quakers that didn't come from that background. It's something that is so difficult to perfect because there's so many elements of Quake that are fast-paced and ever-changing. It's impossible to use things perfectly, but we're definitely seeing, as time goes on, more and more effectiveness from all champions and all abilities. It's difficult to get it right all the time, but when it works, you can see how game-changing it can be.
So we talked a little bit about it, but we're moving on to Insomnia, where Wenger's going to be on Death Knight and ZenAku will be on the Nyx. And this is like one I think to keep an eye on as you think about going into the championships. And again, we are going to be seeing the entirety of the map pool in a lot of the matches that will come about. So, right, is Death Knight the new preferred meta in this case? We've seen Kilson, #1 seed, now grab it. Wenger now using it. I don't know. I'm not saying yes or no either way, but I think we're going to at least to see how Wenger is thinking about it, and can that compete with the, you know, potential utility of Nyx?
I think so. As I mentioned earlier, like if I had to relate this to one map in the current pool, I'd say Veil and Insomnia have similar dynamics. Like lots of choke points, a little bit of versatility, obviously Veil with more so, but you know, these heavily contested areas that favors champions you can bust through in, and Death Knight offers you that. You know, you're going into, say, the mega area, your opponents in the vicinity, you can just completely eliminate the whole area and they have to skedaddle. Same for the scale bearer. So this is why these champions have a good amount of utility. There's more angles, there's more control you can have, but
yeah,
Death Knight offers that, and the chaos factor is always important because we've seen in the past when some people get control of Insomnia, when particularly at the start of the season when opponents weren't too clued in on our dynamics, it was difficult to break that. At least Death Knight gives you that chaos factor if you're out of control, where you can just turn things on its head as well.
And we are live here on Insomnia. We're going to be looking through the eyes of Zeniku as we kick off. He grabbed himself a rails, got an LG, so he's ready to rock and roll. Wenger did grab the Mega, where Zeniku got the Heavy. And we will see how this one will play out. So definitely, you know, Ghost Walk can be used aggressively, can be used as a get out of jail free card. And as both players come around the corner, Ghost Walk's going to walk right through those flames. A couple rockets hit. Zeniku takes the better of that exchange at first, it looks like, but Wenger's still okay with his stack. So he is just going to slow it down a little bit. And I think Zeniku is definitely thinking about this map in terms of positioning two great rails. And that will give him the opportunity to potentially run the map as he pleases.
Yeah, worked his way up. That counter rail is huge as it evens things up completely. Wenger will have his flame strike up now if he needs to use it, but he's actually lost completely his bearings. Does pop the flame strike, but it actually doesn't do anything in the context of things. Stole away the Mega though, so now Zeniku is very, very weak. It ends up committing suicide anyway.
Oh. I mean, that was the right play from Wenger. Just apply the pressure, equalize it a little bit. Wenger now looking for a conversion on that frag, but so far nothing. Some great rail. I mean, I like what I'm seeing out of both of these players so far. Even though Zeniku should be at 2-0, it's now at 1-0 after that suicide. Mega is up. Wenger working those angles a little bit, but he still manages to sneak through and grab that Mega.
Yeah, so far the rail has been really, really strong from Zeniku. Pretty much game-changing. Lovely wall jumps as well to get away from those rockets.
Yeah. Nice wall jump to avoid those flames, too. That's all really nice plays.
Wenger's done a slightly better job as well on the items. This time, Zeniku does get in on them. We saw this earlier. Need to convert this pressure into item pickups. You can see Wenger, even though he's got nothing to work with, he just wants to take the items away. And that's really painful for a Nyx who needs that stack to really play her game.
I like how Zen is approaching this. This is great. I mean, I think he's using Ghost Walk in both ways that he can. He's definitely trying to prioritize positioning, and I do think that's pretty important on this map, right? It was before the kind of redesign, and it still is. I especially Zeniku using the teleporter right here in the mega room is kind of a way to shift between floors in a safe manner. I do think on the exit of that teleporter, you have some pretty good angles that you can hit. So his 2-0 lead's looking pretty good right now as things slow down just a tad. 7 minutes in. Oops. Ceiling a little bit lower than he expected there. Now LG from the bottom. Flames come down. They do tag him, but we'll Ghost Walk out of it. Oh my God. What are even the chances of that? Was that literally a mid-air telefrag?
Yeah, like... What? I don't think I've ever seen that.
I don't think I've ever seen it either. Holy moly.
Didn't even flinch. I don't know how this player is increasing. I mean, for all the hype Quake was giving me before this set, I don't think I've seen anything from him in this match so far to suggest he's bringing it, and his Death Knight has been slightly lackluster, so definitely an experimental pick. Does not look clean in the way he's playing it. A lot of these flame strikes have been irrelevant in the context of the map, so...
You know, if I was Zeniku, I would 1000% claim that I did that on purpose. That was completely planned and timed it down to the millisecond of exiting out of the Ghost Walk. So go with that, Zen. I'll support you on that claim.
Yeah, John needs to instill a frag of the season like they have in other sports, and that would like.
That would be it.
That would be it right there. Yeah. Yep. Special ceremony.
I have to agree. There, the flame strike does hit, but not a whole lot of damage to that teleporter. Wenger's got to figure out how to crack through the shell that Zeniku has kind of created for himself. As he's built himself a nice little couch fort, pillow fort, and Wenger's like, I don't know how to break through this. So Zeniku's going to grab that mega, and his stack's been pretty reasonable. He has been working angles and playing, I think, long and mid-range games the way he needs to. And here we're going to go aggressive on this Ghost Walk again. Sees his opponent retreat out, and we'll just go ahead and back away. Try to gain that position yet again.
Yeah, and it's been a very controlled performance from Zen. Hasn't succumbed to any pressure from Wenger. Definitely just executing better as well. We talked about Wenger's intent to steal away the items, and as much as it's working, no real damage output to accompany it. So the strategy is good if you can follow it up with additional damage, because then you keep Nyx on the back foot, but that just hasn't come really.
You're right. It hasn't. I mean, damage is significantly higher here for Zen, almost 1,000 points of damage. And I think it also kind of plays into the whole drive-by strategy that he's kind of got here, right? There's another great example. Here's his opponent down below. You've got the position in the middle. You can hit a weird rail angle like he just did, making it even that much more difficult for Wenger to try to figure out how he's going to take control here. But the clock is ticking away. It seems like we're only a couple minutes into this one, but we're almost 6.5 minutes in, and Zeniku's sitting on a pretty impressive 4-frag lead. Ooh.
That was a good use of it. Oh, not again!
Oh, so close. a repeat.
It would have been nutty, but it's not to be. Instead, Wenger kills himself. It's been a pretty tame game compared to the last Insomnia we had that week.
It has been an interesting one to say the least. It makes me really curious how Insomnia is going to play into things at the finals. I think that there will be a lot of players that are going to have to prioritize some games on this one in order to not just it be a loss leader for, you know, for players. I think this is one of those maps that in the PPL finals for season 3, it could absolutely make or break some series.
Yeah, yep. Seen that before, you know. Not to the same degree, but, you know, back in the day when I can't remember the name of the map anymore, the Pillar City that no one wanted to play except Sparty. You know, they were some dark times. But this is definitely much more coherent as a map, very good to watch, but still a lot of players, Quake players being stubborn, have refused to adapt to it yet. And players like Zeniku, who do seem much more comfortable, it could be something they rely on.
Someone said cough in chat. Is that what you
Oh, God, yeah, my PTSD, yeah.
I was like, oh, I forgot it for a reason. Oh, well, 2 minutes left. Zeniku looking to do what I don't think anyone could have predicted, which is potentially shut out Wenger, possibly taking us to a third map that will decide the series. Great rocket from Bang as Zeniku is going to go ahead and ghost walk. And Zeniku's like, you know what? I want my cam up this whole game. Let's go. Rocket into flames, but the defensive rail on the way out by Zeniku. We talked a little bit about the defensive play from these players. Wow, even ducks under that rocket. What
ducked in real life.
What
that
a
was
chat.
That was like 80s. Going with the controller.
Oh, and in the final minute, the question now becomes, will Zeniku shut Wenger out? And was this experiment successful for Wenger? No. He dropped the Mentos in the Coke, and then he put it in his mouth, and it didn't turn out well. So I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna flame him on this one after this. After all the hype he's been giving me all day, this was a bit of a letdown for a death knight of all picks. But you have to give it up to Zeniku. He's played disciplined. He's played control.
Yep.
He's prohibited all of that chaos that Wenger wanted to bring. So also it just shows you, we know how powerful Nyx could be, but when you play this map, you can constrain that and keep in a good rhythm. So it's definitely been a bit of a learning, I would say, from a Wenger point of view.
Yeah, you know, and maybe it has more to do with the matchup versus Nyx herself, but I was not like overly impressed by any means by what we saw here with the Death Knight. The Flames didn't do much. Utility of Nyx was way better. And we've got Zeniku taking this map, which will mean we're going to go on to the third and final map to determine the series. And that's going to be Blood Covenant, the Visor, coming out against the Slash.
Yeah, this is the one we picked out as a bit more of an anomaly, you know. Zeniku picks the Slash, and then the response is a Visor. Now, there's definitely logic there. I've definitely seen it done. I've definitely seen it win. But it puts a lot of pressure on your shoulders as the Visor to play positionally perfect, because there's the frag again, because you're so reliant on having information and controlling that Slash. We saw it earlier when Avik was playing, I think it was Avik CNZ, Avik playing the Galena, and he played perfectly to win that one against the Slash. But I don't think that Wenger will have it as easy as that. At least with the Galena, you can build that overstack up, and you got that utility permanently.
Yeah.
If you use your piercing sight and you get nothing from it, what do? You don't have anything left.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's gonna, I mean, you've got to be hitting every rail. Your rail actually has to be your ability for the game. So we'll have to see. And, you know, I think what that last map and this series so far has really told us that we are in for a pretty exciting finals, right? I mean, has there been a point in which some of the top contenders are as close as they are ever in QPL? I think, you know, in fact, I haven't even heard the statement in a while, like, oh, it's getting boring. Rafa wins everything. He's going to win. It's like, it's not the case anymore. And I mean, I'm sure Rafa wouldn't like me to hear me say this, but that's gonna make for a very exciting finals where the possibility of upsets are around every single corner.
100%. And we talked about it a little earlier. I think going into it, Rafa's not top of the league, but I think he still goes in as favorite just because
for sure.
Pedigree, right? But then Kilson is a close second, if not a joint first favorite. And it can go either way. I give the edge to him, but even still, then you've got people like Razy, who is for some reason always in the finals, still chasing the tail, sitting in fourth. Wenger, the previous champion, chasing their tails, and then even behind them, a whole host of players who can at least upset the best, if not take it further. You know, Maxter, ZenAku, to name another one. All of these players who have taken series off of them, and all they need to do is in the finals, and then suddenly the whole final is upset. So
especially when you're bringing it back to LAN. Right, even more exciting. Yeah.
So it's gonna be an exciting event, an exciting few days.
I don't comment usually very often on that, but I do like this Nick skin that Zeniku is rocking. It's gone. You missed it. You don't pay attention to these things, Dan? Come on.
Fight.
All right, let's kick it off. It's going to be the decider between these two. It is Wenger versus ZenAku. Wenger on the visor, ZenAku on the slash. And let's see how these two match up. I think Rail's going to be big decider here in this matchup, but we'll have to see how it goes.
We'll see. Again, this is more than possible for a Zen win, and if anything, I give him a slight favor with this champion, and that would be an upset. But as we heard, Wenger's out here to test, to experiment, to have a little bit of fun. I don't think I've seen that just yet, so let's see what he's got up his sleeve with the visor. And that's all credit to Zeniku. He's the one that's put his stamp on this map and made it very difficult for Wenger to play the game he wants to play.
Yeah, I'm kind of really curious to see how his strategy or the approach is going to play out here. Right, so far, I feel like he wants to be the trapper. He is not moving around a ton, looking for those long-range rails. There he finds one, but takes one of his own. Prioritizing the upper levels. Of course, as I say that, he drops down, grabs the heavy, and then goes through the lowers. But definitely not necessarily looking to control the map by covering a large portion of it, but rather kind of sticking to one position and catching your opponent as you're moving through. Now, what is the downside of that? If you're not hitting your shots, that can be not only super frustrating as the way to play this map, but it can just, potentially yield 0 damage.
Oh, no
my God. Give him a lift, ladies and gentlemen. Woo. The elevator only goes up. ZenAku with the first frag. He literally pinned Wenger to the wall.
That was painful. And ZenAku is on form so far. And as you pointed out, Challenger playing a visor as strong as the champion is, and as much as we see it on a map like this, particularly against the Slash, is that if you miss your shots or if you get out-aimed, you don't offer anything. And that is the problem. It feels incredibly strong if you are out-aiming your opponent, but particularly with the piercing sight, it feels like you have a ton of vision, but then you just don't have that X-Factor comeback mechanic if it doesn't go your way. And at the moment, that's what we're seeing as ZenAku wants to get connected with more and more shots. Wenger goes up, but he just gets melted and exploded.
I mean, I feel like ZenAku is out to make a statement in this third map. You know, admittedly, after game number 1, Wenger looked on form, like played the way that we kind of expected, but has really turned it up here in the last two maps. So not gonna by any means call it early, because Wenger has undoubtedly showed us many instances where he has come back and made amazing things happen. But I like what Wenger did there in terms of trying to attack. It didn't really work out that much, as Zeniku still got a solid amount of control, a good stack, and again, with this speed, is just having no problem covering aspects of the map that he wants to cover.
Yeah, he's doing an exceptional job, and Wenger at the moment is struggling to get a lockdown on his opponent. They are bang on even when it comes to major items, but once again, Zeniku taking by far the bigger lead with regards to damage. Zeniku, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, like, anything more than a 3-frag lead versus this slash, that's going to be, going to have a bad time.
This side comes out, he does connect with it this time, and he's slowly building his way back into this game. So Zeniku is going to retreat and play a lot more defensive now, but it's generally what he's more comfortable with. He has shown us good levels of aggression today, but what makes him such a strong player is just that rounded playstyle. He can play offensive and defensive pretty much equal measure, which is, as you pointed out, quite a rare feat.
Well, Wenger, I mean, he's now kind of hunting, but every time he reaches a destination, he's like, ah, oh, crap, he was here like 2 minutes ago. And it's not really working out. He's still chasing, which I've got to give him props for. Oh, the big rocket up the jump pad. The first rail does hit, but the second one can't follow up. Wenger should be thanking his lucky stars for that one, because I kind of feel like that should have been a frag for Zeniku, but we managed to get out of that one. And I guess it's those little moments where he gains some kind of a advantage that he needs in order to get that first frag and potentially try to build a comeback here. But so far, Zeniku seems to be handling it well.
Right, and this is the problem when you're watching it, is that, you know, Wenger's playing well, he's running the items, he's hitting some decent enough shots, but it kind of feels like he's playing with some bricks strapped to his back and a few steps behind his opponent, because he's finding it so hard and sluggish to make anything happen, because he's a visor. The slash is always ahead of him, always reading him, and he's taking up better positions, so at the very least they're trading. This is the problem so far, is that Wenger cannot capitalize upon anything he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, Wenger's hoping that this is a tortoise and a hare situation, where it's like the rabbit's all like, yeah, look at me, I'm gonna win this race so easy. But I don't know, the rabbit might just win this one, rewriting the tale, as Zen still holding onto that 3-frag lead. Now, we did mention that anything more than 3 frags is going to be danger zone here for Wenger. He's very low after eating those 2 rails. He's got to be careful, and I think Wenger knows that based on how he's playing. Zeniku, he's not putting himself in any positions to let Wenger try to get on top of that, but oh my god, the beautiful rail. There's frag number 4, and this is where I think the pain starts to be felt here by Wenger.
Well, I was about to say Wenger needs to change strategy just a little bit. I'm hesitant to say it against the Quake champion, but he was just playing slightly too basic, slightly too predictable. You know, it was basically running the items, going from A, B, C, running from standard routes. And Zeniku was reading that and playing around it. And it's difficult the way in which Zen is overexposing himself whatsoever. But really, Wenger has to be more creative with his angles, with the way he's positioning, trying to set up traps, but you can see that Zeniku is taking the opposite pathing across the map to his opponent. He doesn't want to engage, he wants to play this distant game, and he's winning at that game.
I mean, winning in a major way. And you can't just claim one part of the map, because Zeniku will just run around and scoop up everything.
Exactly.
You get in a bad fight, you have no stack, that lead gets larger. Everything is just working out in Zeniku's favor. And on top of that, he's hitting good shots. His positioning is quite fantastic. And, you know, it's hard to see where there is a avenue for success here for Wenger.
Yeah, I mean, there really isn't. It comes down to we said it time and again, and it's a boring phrase, but hitting more shots. Unfortunately for Wenger, his statistics are quite low for his normal brain, if you will. But that's also in part because Zeniku's not giving him those options, giving him those free angles. Everything is hard fought.
Yeah, and at this point, minute and a half on the clock. This is where, you know, you turn into a cross-country runner, and you just start running to hold on to that lead, even with vision up, even with getting those perfect, you know, spawn reads. That 4 frags would be next to impossible to pick up here because of the slash. So, you know, I don't know what Wenger was experimenting with here totally in this series, but, you know, I hope whatever it is, it prepares him even more for the, you know, QPL finals.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like we said, you know, the Visor is not an off-meta pick. The Visor is a good pick. The Visor is a difficult pick against the slash when you're picking it into the slash. That's when we had a big question mark over it, whether that was him experimenting in some way. But if he wanted to try anything in the game, Zeniku did not let him. This was Zeniku's show, the way in which he controlled the map, how calm he was. Just his awareness is he's just top notch at the moment. He's playing great Quake. And to top it off, he's hitting harder than I've seen him hit pretty much ever. And that level of consistency was something that was always a question mark. So he's going to be scary in these finals. Really is a dark horse.
I agree. And I mean, if the results aren't good enough for you, keep in mind that, and there is Wenger picking up his first frag here, but with 10 seconds, that's impossible. I mean, Zeniku has out-damaged Wenger significantly in the last 2 maps. So it's quite impressive. Congratulations.
100%.
Yes, to Zeniku to take that one 1-5 on that last map for the 2-1 victory. That's a big win going into the finals.
Well, we also have for the finals all of these kind of micro battles as well, like Inception Quake. We not only have the leaderboards and the standings, but we also have who is the best Maestro player. You know?
Yeah.
And you know, Zeniku might dethrone one of the golden boys. And we'll see what happens. You know, Garpy and Hella are gone. So, you know, who's next? Maybe Wenger's going to be kicked for poor performance. Who knows? But really well played by
Somehow I doubt that, but
really well played by Zeniku. He definitely surprised me. Obviously, I know he's a great player, but today was, irrespective of whether it meant anything or not, it was definitely another level from what I've seen from him, and that's full credit to how hard he's committed to the cause here. And it shows not many people, A, beat Wenger, but B, make him look quite useless, particularly in that map.
Yeah, that's quite a feat. And I wouldn't take that as any indication as to like how the finals might play out, right? Both players and a lot of the players at this point know what they're getting into. They know what they've got to do over the next several weeks as they march towards the Season 3 finals. But as we've kind of mentioned over the last few weeks, I don't know that we've ever had a season where there is such a little gap between the skill sets and some of the matchups that we're seeing. It really is going to come down to how much are people preparing over the next couple weeks. Are you prioritizing, you know, putting some extra hours in on Insomnia and maybe even bringing something to the finals that would be, you know, that might be surprising. I don't know. There's a lot of risk in all of that. It might just be like I'm bringing my normal tool set and I'm going to make sure that I'm, you know, well aimed, in a good mental spot, and ready to tackle whatever's thrown my way.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Going to be in Romania. Going to get to see you again. First time since, like, I don't know, QuakeCon 2017. Yeah, well, yeah. I've grown a little. Got a bit taller, maybe. I don't know if age has shrunk you or anything, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a long time coming.
I have. I did like, you know, the way that this season played out, and instead of kind of watching two regions go head to head for a while and then have them clash, right? We've gotten to see the whole story kind of play out with all of the players. And I think that it's not only allowed some players to excel and showcase some skill sets and that we haven't seen before, but it makes it for an even more exciting trek into the finals. So seems like it'll just be right around the corner, and it basically is a few weeks away, and we're going to see who will be the Season 3 champion. I cannot wait.
Me neither. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, chat. Thank you, the players. It's been a long season. 17 weeks, 18 weeks crammed into 17. But we're nearly there. As we said, we got just under 4 weeks to go. August 18th to 21st, if I'm right. Does that sound right to you?
That sounds right.
That sounds right. I don't know. So you can check it, but that sounds right. That will be right. And we will see you there for the QuakeCon finals. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in a few weeks.